The Galactic Council's decision echoed through every inhabited system within 48 hours. Earth was to be severed from the network. No trade, no communication, no diplomatic relations. The vote had been unanimous among the 47 species that mattered. Humanity, in their estimation, had become too unpredictable, too aggressive, too dangerous. Ambassador Abigail Chen stood in the crystalline chamber as the verdict was read, her face carved from stone. Around her, alien dignitaries from 1,000 worlds whispered in languages that her neural implant translated into a cacophony of satisfaction and relief. They thought they were protecting the galaxy. They thought they were containing a threat. They had no idea what they'd just unleashed. The human delegation has 72 hours to vacate council space, High Arbiter Vexther announced, his triforked tongue flickering with barely concealed pleasure. All human vessels will be escorted to the Sol System boundary. The quarantine begins immediately. Abigail didn't argue, didn't plead, didn't threaten. She simply nodded once, gathered her materials, and walked out of the chamber with her head high. Behind her, Christopher Martinez, her military attaché, matched her stride. His jaw was tight, but his eyes burned with something the assembled aliens couldn't recognize. It was anticipation. They actually did it, Christopher murmured as they entered their shuttle. The fools actually did it. Contact Fleet Admiral Ochoa, Abigail said calmly, strapping into her seat. Tell her it's time. Protocol Exodus is now active. Christopher's fingers flew across his communicator. Within minutes, confirmation codes began flooding in from every corner of known space. What the Council didn't know, what they'd been too arrogant to discover, was that humanity had been preparing for this moment for 3 years. The signs had been obvious to anyone paying attention. The whispers in council corridors, the trade restrictions that appeared without explanation, the subtle redirections of exploration permits. Humanity had seen the writing on the wall and had done what humans did best. They'd adapted, while alien civilizations had spent millennia developing their comfortable positions in the galactic hierarchy. Humans had spent 3 years turning their exile into an advantage. Exile Protocol Omega is executing now, Christopher reported, watching data stream across his display. All human assets beyond the quarantine line are activating. The Council had assumed humanity's presence in the galaxy was limited to official colonies and registered vessels. They were catastrophically wrong. For 3 years, human corporations had been buying abandoned systems through alien intermediaries. Shell companies registered on a dozen different worlds had purchased mining rights, established research stations, and built infrastructure in regions the Council considered worthless. Asteroid belts too dense to navigate safely, nebulae with hazardous radiation levels, dead systems orbiting pulsars and black holes, places where other species saw obstacles, humans saw opportunities. The shipyards? Abigail asked. All 37 are transitioning to full production. The Council thinks we have 12 ships of the line. They're about to discover we have 300, with another 500 in advanced construction. Abigail allowed herself a small smile. The galaxy's species had achieved faster-than-light travel through discovered artifacts ancient jump gates left by a long-dead civilization. They'd never bothered to understand the technology, content to use what they'd found. Humans had torn those gates apart, studied them, rebuilt them, and improved them. Now, human vessels didn't need fixed jump points. They could create their own, and the colonists? Christopher's expression softened. Every single volunteer made it through. 17 million people across 48 systems. They're already establishing the new settlements. While the Council had been debating humanity's fate, millions of humans had been quietly emigrating, following trails blazed by explorers who'd found worlds the alien civilizations had overlooked. Worlds with gravity slightly too high, atmospheres slightly too thin, temperatures at the edge of tolerance. Worlds that were perfect for humans, who'd evolved climbing mountains and crossing deserts. The shuttle cleared Council space, and Abigail could see the fleet assembling. Not the official Earth Defense Force vessels the Council had catalogued, but the shadow fleet humanity had built in secret. Each ship bore the same message emblazoned across its hull in a dozen languages. Humanity's reach. Communication from Admiral Ochoa. Christopher announced. The Admiral's weathered face appeared on screen. Ambassador Chen, I trust the Council gave us the excuse we needed. They voted for exile, Admiral. We're now free to operate without their restrictions. Outstanding. The survey teams have identified 73 classer worlds beyond Council space, all of them habitable with minimal terraforming. 12 of them are in systems with heavy element concentrations that will make Earth's economy look primitive. Abigail nodded. Then we proceed as planned. Humanity doesn't need the Council's permission to thrive. One more thing, Ochoa added, her expression grim. Our deep space monitoring detected movement in the outer dark. The Vextori weren't just voting to exile us. They were clearing the way for expansion into sectors they thought we'd abandon. Christopher's hand moved to his sidearm instinctively. They're moving to claim our explored territories. Not anymore, Ochoa said. The first wave of their colonization fleet just encountered Outpost Defiant. Captain Rodriguez sent them a message. These systems are claimed under the Terran Compact. They can take it up with our diplomatic cause, which no longer exists in Council space, Abigail noted. Exactly. They can't protest to anyone. And if they press the issue, Ochoa's smile was sharp. Well, they'll discover that exiled humanity is considerably less concerned with Council rules of engagement. The shuttle docked with the flagship in, and Abigail walked onto a bridge bustling with activity. Holographic displays showed human positions across hundreds of light years. What the Council had intended as isolation had become liberation. Ambassador, we're receiving requests from 14 alien species, the communications officer reported. All of them are minor civilizations that the Council has marginalized. They're asking if humanity would consider alternative trade arrangements. Abigail exchanged glances with Christopher. The Council had created their exile to eliminate human competition. Instead, they'd just given humanity the opportunity to build its own network, free from their oversight and restrictions. Open channels, Abigail ordered. Let them know that humanity remembers its friends, and that we never needed the Council's permission to reach for the stars. As the Indomitable accelerated toward the edge of known space, Abigail looked at the tactical display. Behind them, Council space represented barely 15% of the galaxy. Ahead lay infinite possibility. The Council had voted to exile Earth. Humanity had voted to claim the universe.